Have you ever stopped and wondered, could I actually lose my U.S. citizenship? It's a scary thought, especially for immigrants who have worked so hard, sacrificed so much, and built a life here in America. You might think, once I have that citizenship, I'm safe forever. But the truth is, there are certain actions, some that may even seem harmless, that can put it all at risk. And here's the shocking part. Many U.S. citizens, especially naturalized ones, don't even realize they're walking into danger until it's too late. Imagine spending years saving money, studying for the citizenship test, finally swearing the oath, and then, boom, one mistake, one wrong step, and you're facing the possibility of losing everything you fought for. This isn't meant to scare you for no reason. It's meant to protect you. Because if you understand these rules, you can avoid the traps that have cost others their status. And no, it's not just about committing serious crimes. Some of these reasons will truly shock you. And one of them is something people do without even knowing it's a problem. Over the next few minutes, I'm going to walk you through 5 surprising and powerful reasons you could lose your U.S. citizenship forever. We'll break them down clearly with real examples, so you know exactly what's at stake and how to make sure it never happens to you. If you're a U.S. immigrant, this is information you cannot afford to ignore. One of these reasons has actually affected thousands of people in the last decade, and it's still happening today. So stay with me until the very end, because the last one is the most unexpected and the most dangerous. Before we jump in, do me a quick favor. If you believe immigrants deserve clear, honest information that protects them and their families, tap that like button right now. It helps this video reach more people who need to hear it, and it could literally save someone's future. All right, let's dive right into it, because I know your time is valuable. And if you're watching this, it's because you care about protecting your citizenship and your future in the United States. The first thing we need to clear up is a huge misconception. A lot of people think, once I have my naturalization certificate, I'm untouchable. Nobody can take this away. And while in most cases that's true, there are certain very specific situations where the government has the legal power to revoke your citizenship. These aren't everyday situations, but they do happen. And when they do, they can turn a person's life upside down. One of the most common and most misunderstood reasons is fraud during the naturalization process. Now, I know what you're thinking. Fraud? That sounds like something only criminals do. I'm a good person. I didn't lie about anything. But here's the thing, it doesn't have to be some big elaborate scam. Even small mistakes, omissions, or things you forgot to mention could be interpreted as misrepresentation. Let's say you failed to mention a prior arrest that happened in another country years before you applied. Or maybe you misunderstood a question and checked the wrong box on your application. If the government later believes that this was done intentionally, they can use it as grounds to cancel your citizenship. And they don't just do this right after you're approved. They can dig into your file years, even decades, later if new information comes to light. Think about that for a second. Imagine building your entire life here, raising your kids, working hard, paying taxes, only to have someone knock on your door and tell you your citizenship is being revoked over something you didn't even think was a big deal at the time. That's why it's so important to be completely transparent during the application process and to keep records of everything you've submitted. The second shocking reason is serving in a foreign military. Now, you might be thinking, well, I live in the US. Why would I ever do that? But here's where it gets tricky. Let's say you have dual citizenship with another country, and that country has mandatory military service. Maybe you go back to visit family and get pressured or required to serve for a short period. Depending on the circumstances, that could be seen as renouncing your allegiance to the US, especially if that service involves a government or military that's hostile to American interests. It's not just about picking up a weapon. Even holding a certain type of government position in another country can create problems. And while there are some exceptions, you never want to assume you're in the clear. If you're ever in a situation where another country is asking you to serve in their military or take an official role, Talk to an immigration attorney immediately before making any decision. Now, the third reason is one that makes people's jaws drop: voluntarily giving up your citizenship. You might be wondering, why would anyone do that? But believe it or not, people do it every year. Sometimes it's for tax reasons. Sometimes it's because they've lived abroad for so long that they feel more connected to another country. The problem is, once you officially renounce your citizenship, it's gone, and getting it back is nearly impossible. Some people have done it thinking they could easily reclaim it later, only to find themselves stuck outside the US with no way back and except as a visa holder. The process of renunciation is actually very formal. It has to be done in front of a US consular officer, and you have to sign an oath. But here's the twist. Even certain actions that look like renunciation, like taking a very high-level job in another government, could be interpreted as giving up your US citizenship. And if the government believes you intended to abandon it, they might not need you to sign a paper to make it official. The fourth reason hits much closer to home: engaging in certain acts of treason or rebellion against the United States. Now, I'm not just talking about Hollywood-style spy movies or dramatic war scenes. In legal terms, treason can include giving aid or comfort to enemies of the US or participating in violent uprisings against the government. And yes, even if you were born in the US, treason can carry severe penalties. For naturalized citizens, it can be a direct ticket to losing your status. The scary thing is, these laws have been on the books for decades, and while they're not used lightly, they absolutely can be enforced. And finally, the one that surprises almost everyone is being denaturalized because of certain criminal convictions that happen after you become a citizen. Many people think that once they've taken the oath, they're safe from deportation. And for most crimes, that's true. But if the government can prove that you committed crimes that show you never truly met the requirements for citizenship in the first place, for example, if you were part of organized crime before or during your application, but it wasn't discovered until later, they can use that as a basis to undo your naturalization. This isn't about small mistakes. It's about serious, intentional violations of law that make the government believe your citizenship was obtained under false pretenses. But again, what's considered serious can sometimes be broader than you'd expect, which is why knowing your rights and your responsibilities is so critical. Here's the bottom line. Losing your US citizenship is rare, but it's not impossible. And the more informed you are, the safer you'll be. Your status is something you fought for, something that likely cost you years of effort, patience, and sacrifice. Protect it the same way you'd protect your home, your family, and your future. If any of these situations feel like something that could apply to you, don't wait until it's too late. Seek legal advice from someone who understands immigration law inside and out. And remember, this isn't just about you. Sharing this information could protect friends, family, or someone in your community who has no idea they're at risk. In the next part of this video, I'm going to break down real-life examples of people who lost their citizenship and what we can learn from their stories. So make sure you stay tuned all the way to the end. And if you haven't already, hit that like button to help this information reach more immigrants who deserve to know the truth before it's too late.